먹어도 끝이 없는 나라. 감당할 수 있겠니?
Coming up on Arirang News. An unprecedented early summer heat wave gripped South Korea, with today being the hottest day of the year so far. In recent weeks, the heat has caused more than 200 people to be sent to emergency rooms. With Japan's planned release of Fukushima wastewater approaching, the International Atomic Energy Agency is set to present its report on the safety of the water tomorrow. But the South Korean government and the ruling party say the import ban on the seafood from Fukushima will not be lifted. Hundreds have been arrested as violent protests continue for days across France after the police shooting of a teenager last week. Protests have also spread to Switzerland and Belgium. Good evening. It's 9 p.m. here in Seoul. Thank you for joining us on Arirang News. An extreme heat wave hit South Korea with temperatures well above normally seen at this time of the year. Heat wave advisories have been issued in all major cities today, and in recent weeks, the heat has sent hundreds of people to emergency rooms. Moon Hae-ryun leads our coverage tonight.
South Korea began the new week with the hottest day of the year so far. Temperatures soared to 33 to 35 degrees Celsius on Monday, with the capital recording over 35 degrees in some areas around midday. The Korea Meteorological Administration issued a heatwave warning for 6 different regions, from Gyeonggi-do province in the north to Gyeongsang-do provinces in the south. A heatwave advisory was issued in Seoul along with all major cities, the second time an advisory has been issued for the capital this year. A heatwave warning is issued when feels like temperatures hit 35 degrees or higher, while an advisory is issued at 33 degrees. A spokesperson at the KMA remarked that an early heatwave is something that has been observed fairly frequently in the past few years.
When the weather meets certain wind conditions, there are times when the temperature rises a lot even in July, so a heat wave warning is issued from time to time.
According to the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, between May and last Saturday, the heat wave has led to 245 people being admitted to emergency rooms. Livestock are also suffering. Nearly 3,000 chickens died at a farm in Gyeonggi-do province. Coupled with the heavy rain which claimed the lives of 2 people last week, the entire nation is suffering from extreme weather conditions. Heavy rain is due to hit the country on Tuesday, with western regions predicted to be the most heavily affected. The blanket of rain will be covering Jeju and Jeollanam-do province first, before moving on to the western regions of Jeollabuk-do province, the Chungcheong-do provinces and Seoul. More than 50 millimeters is expected for these regions, with some areas forecasted to have more than 150. Data from the KMA shows that an average of 163.9 millimeters was recorded last week across the country. This is more than 2.4 times the usual amount recorded during this period in other years. While the rain is expected to offer a brief respite from the heat, the weather agency advises people to take shelter and be careful using transport because of the heavy rain and fog reducing visibility. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
President Yoon's recent reshuffling of senior government officials is expected to trigger further changes across the system, with more personnel resigning or being replaced after a dozen new vice ministers took office on Monday morning. Our top office correspondent Oh Soo-young has more on what it means.
A ripple of change is moving through the South Korean government as the Yoon Suk-yeol administration's first major cabinet overhaul takes effect. The president on Monday instated 12 vice ministers across 11 ministries, spanning foreign affairs, unification, transport, environment and culture, among others, along with a new anti-corruption commissioner and a human resources institute chief. That's more than half of the country's 19 ministries involved in the cabinet shake-up, with 5 of the new vice ministers coming straight from the presidential office. But another tide is predicted to come, with senior civil servants bracing for more sweeping changes across the board. Local media reported Monday that incumbent deputy minister level staff, who are usually promoted to vice minister, are preparing to step down. Already, according to Channel A, the Environment Ministry's highest-ranking officials have submitted their resignations. This comes amid rumours that the weak performance and ideological differences in certain ministries have failed to impress the president.
And probably many are sitting on their hands, either because they are appointed by the previous president or likely there's some level of a complacence and apathy setting among the public officials. From that background, I think he wants to send a strong message that, either fall in and shake your legs or you will be pushed aside.
Yoon's office, though, says the resignations were not made under top-level orders. The president has, however, asked his appointees to fight corruption and interest groups that harm public interest and foster a system based on fairness that can execute major policy changes. Yoon's policy drives include labour reform, reviving the nuclear power industry, which the previous government rolled back domestically, and a vastly different approach to inter-Korean and foreign affairs. In line with his no-nonsense stance on Pyongyang's nuclear threat and human rights violations, Yoon named a new unification minister, Kim Yong-ho, stressing that the ministry's role must change.
The president said that until now, the unification ministry has been acting like a supportive body for North Korea, but it shouldn't be this way. The unification we must pursue is one in which all residents of the two Koreas can live better and more humanly.
A ministerial appointment requires parliamentary approval following a hearing where Kim is likely to face tough questions from the opposition party. 오수영, Arirang News.
The Ministry of National Defense announced plans to bolster efforts against North Korean threats during the senior leaders' issue seminar on Monday. A key part of the plan is to expand the current nuclear and weapons of mass destruction response center into a full response headquarters with the goal of having a strategic command set up by 2024. The ministry also plans to put more money into its 3K defense strategy. This is comprised of the kill chain early attack system, the Korean air and missile defense, and the Korea massive punishment and retaliation plan. Moreover, the ministry said that following record-breaking sales of $1.7 billion in defense goods last year, it aims to propel South Korea into the ranks of the top 4 global defense exporters. With the IAEA's report on the safety of wastewater from Fukushima set to be released on Tuesday, the Korean government says it'll decide its stance on the issue based on the report and its own investigation, having reaffirmed its earlier stance on the seafood import ban. Our Kim Mo-kyun reports.
One of the biggest challenges for Japan in releasing the wastewater from the destroyed Fukushima nuclear power plant will be decided on Tuesday. The International Atomic Energy Agency is set to hand over its comprehensive report on the scientific verification of the wastewater to the Japanese government. Local reports say IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi will arrive in Tokyo himself on Tuesday to deliver his agency's final report to Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. The two are set to give a press briefing afterward. The IAEA is widely expected to give Japan the green light, considering that its previous reports found the country's measurement of the treated water to be accurate and precise. The Japanese government will then announce the exact schedule for the release, a process that will be carried out over the next 3 to 4 decades. With all eyes on the results of the report, the South Korean government reiterated its stance that it's against any release of wastewater that does not meet agreed-upon safety standards. It says that it will decide on its official position on the release after considering the results of both the IAEA report and its own inspection. Regarding speculation that the IAEA report will lead to the resumption of seafood imports from Fukushima, Seoul's Office for Government Policy Coordination reassured citizens that the wastewater release and the seafood import ban were completely different issues. Concerns on the safety of the wastewater to be discharged are not only a problem for South Korea. Neighboring countries, including China and Russia, sharply oppose the idea, saying that the Pacific Ocean was not a sewer to empty wastewater into. Hong Kong and Macau are also known to be considering embargoes on imports of goods from the area. Meanwhile, the latest survey by JNN on some 2,500 people suggests that Japanese residents also seem to be divided over the issue, with 45% of the population for the discharge and 40% against it. Kim Mo-kyan, Arirang News.
South Korea is likely to continue to ban imports from Fukushima as Japan prepares to release nuclear wastewater. The ruling party and the opposition party came together on Monday to discuss countermeasures ahead of the final report being submitted by the International Atomic Energy Agency regarding the wastewater from Fukushima's Daiichi nuclear power plant. The government stated that restrictions on seafood imports from the region will continue for an unspecified period of time until public consensus changes, even if the IAEA confirms the safety of the water. The IAEA will be presenting the findings of their safety review on Tuesday evening in Tokyo. The South Korean government has begun the process to deposit compensation through a court for 4 Korean victims of Japan's wartime forced labor that have rejected the government's reimbursement plan. Seoul's foreign ministry announced this on Monday, saying the 2 victims and the families of 2 deceased victims that have rejected the plan can collect the compensation payment whenever they wish to. It added that the Korean government will continue efforts to contact each of them and ask for their understanding. Earlier in March, seeking to improve ties with Japan, South Korea unveiled a plan to compensate wartime forced labor victims through its own public foundation instead of the responsible Japanese firms. But 4 out of a total of 15 plaintiffs that won legal battles against Japanese companies at South Korea's Supreme Court in 2018 said they'll not accept the money unless it's from the Japanese firms responsible. President Yoon says he's pushing for a diversity within education, and government-run childcare services should be focused on learning rather than a mere welfare program. This as he visited an all-day care providing elementary school on Monday in the city of Suwon. It's a test policy that provides after-school programs until 8 p.m. to help working parents. There, the president met with children, parents, and faculty members, during which he discussed how to further improve the system before it kicks off nationwide. Following that, he stopped by Gyeonggi Game Meister High School, a school focused on fostering talent in the gaming industry. South Koreans have been spending more on travel and transportation amid COVID-19 being downgraded to an endemic, and a lot of this has been done online, especially for the month of May. Monthly data released by Statistics Korea on Monday showed that online consumption for travel and transportation during May surpassed 2 trillion won, or around $1.6 billion for the first time. This was up over 40% compared to a year ago. Digital e-coupon service transactions also rose almost 37% year-on-year to about $638 million. Total online transactions rose 8.7% to over $14 billion, an all-time monthly high. In France, hundreds have been arrested as violent protests continue across the nation in response to a police shooting of a teenager last week. Unrest has now spread to Switzerland and Belgium. Jung Eun-ju has the latest.
The French government deployed security forces and riot police across the country on Saturday as nationwide unrest and violence continued for the 5th straight night. France has been rocked by a wave of violent protests following the death of Nahel, a 17-year-old of Algerian and Moroccan descent who was shot dead last Tuesday in the suburb of Nanterre. According to a provisional tally from the Interior Ministry, more than 700 people were detained across France on Saturday. France's military police force began mobilizing armored vehicles onto streets starting on the 4th night of unrest, and several suburbs of Paris imposed a 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. curfew until Monday. French Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin said some 45,000 police were deployed on Sunday night to deter rioters who have torched cars, looted stores, and targeted town halls and police stations. On Saturday, rioters targeted the home of a Paris suburb mayor, ramming a car into the entrance to his home before setting the car on fire. The mayor was out attending a town hall meeting. However, his wife and children were targeted with fireworks by rioters as they ran to escape. The mayor's wife suffered a broken leg while one of the children was hurt as well. Riots had also spread to cities in Switzerland and Belgium, with protesters chanting "Justice for Nahel" in Brussels and throwing Molotov cocktails in Lausanne on Saturday night. Several arrests occurred in both cities. Meanwhile, in the hopes of quelling the violence, on Friday, French national football team captain Kylian Mbappé appealed for calm. In a statement posted on social media, the PSG star said that while he understands the rage people feel at the death of the teenager, but that the time for violence must cease to give way to that of mourning, dialogue, and reconstruction. 정은주, Arirang News.
U.S. authorities say the broader implications of the recently aborted armed advance into Russian territory by its paramilitary organization, the Wagner Group, have yet to be fully understood. And amid this assessment, the United Nations has attacked Russia's atrocious assault and abuse of Ukrainian children. Yoon-jin reports.
Western analysts have said Russian President Vladimir Putin appears to be in a heightened emotional state and that his recent public appearances can be seen as damage control following the Wagner Group's recent failed mutiny. CIA Director Bill Burns, during his remarks in England on Saturday, said that the mutiny showed the corrosive effect of President Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine, while the U.S. military's top general, General Mark Milley, told reporters on Friday that it's likely too early to tell the impact of the Wagner Group mutiny on Russian President Vladimir Putin. The head of the Russian paramilitary organization Wagner Group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, who led the mutiny, is now confirmed to be in Belarus. His men have been given the choice of joining him or be integrated into Russia's armed forces. Meanwhile, the United Nations has announced it has added the Russian armed forces to a global list of shame for maiming some 518 children, carrying out 480 attacks on schools and hospitals, and using 91 children as human shields.
In Ukraine, the Secretary General decided to list the Russian armed forces and affiliated armed groups under Section B of Annex 2 for attacks on schools and hospitals and for killing of children.
While the UN report also verified that Ukrainian armed forces killed 80 children, maimed 175 children, and carried out 212 attacks on schools and hospitals, the Ukrainian armed forces are not on the global offenders list. And amid fears that Russia might blow up the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Ukraine is holding drills to prepare emergency services with how to deal with a potential radioactive disaster. Yoon-jin, Arirang News.
A special Korean task force has landed in Canada to join a global battle against the country's worst wildfires on record. The 151-member team includes firefighters, emergency workers, and medical personnel who left Korea earlier on Sunday for a mission that'll last until August 3rd. Upon arriving in the capital city of Ottawa, the team headed to Maniwaki in Quebec for related training before deployment to Le Belcher-Québillon, one of the worst-hit regions. The Korean team joins its counterparts from countries including the U.S., Australia, New Zealand, and France. Hyde Park in London turned pink on Sunday, the color of South Korean girl group Blackpink. The K-pop stars were Sunday's headliners at the British summer title Hyde Park Festival 2023, marking a huge first in K-pop history. The festival gates opened at 2 p.m. and Blackpink started performing slightly after 9 p.m., opening with Pink Venom. The group performed back-to-back hit songs including How You Like That and Pretty Savage. The BST Hyde Park Festival began June 23rd and will run until July 9th, and other headliners includes a historical who's who of legendary entertainers such as Billy Joel, Bruce Springsteen, and Guns N' Roses. Over in Incheon, here in Korea, the city has opened a unique and national museum dedicated to sharing the world's writing systems and better understanding their historical implications. Choi Soo-young provides us what to expect.
On Friday, June 30th, the National Museum of World Writing Systems opened in Incheon, South Korea, becoming the third museum of its kind in the world. Following France and China, the museum will serve as a global center for research and exhibition on writing systems by emphasizing its uniqueness.
While France focuses on deciphering and showcasing world scripts, and China highlights the history of Chinese characters and ethnic minority scripts, our museum explores the emergence of human culture through various writing systems and aims to promote a deeper understanding of Hangul.
The most noteworthy permanent exhibits include a tablet of round arc from around 2000 BC, the counterpick jar from 664 BC, and the Book of Joshua, the 42-line Gutenberg Bible for the year 1454. The tablets contain an Akkadian cuneiform inscription of an ancient flood story of West Asia compared to the biblical story of Noah often. Especially the Book of Joshua exhibited in the museum is exclusively held by the National Museum of World Writing Systems. Furthermore, this museum not only offers visual exhibitions but also incorporates a multi-sensory experiential approach, allowing visitors to directly touch replica exhibits and experience more vivid viewing through advanced digital images.
We came here because it's a time when children are getting familiar with letters and they have a lot of curiosity. By experiencing it here, they will naturally become interested in various scripts, including Hangul, as well as other languages.
The exhibition showcases a variety of artifacts from 55 different writing systems, including cuneiform, hieroglyphs, Chinese characters, and Hangul, in the order of language evolution. In the special exhibition room, visitors can share their thoughts by comparing the advantages of writing and non-writing systems. The outdoor exhibition features reinterpretations of artworks inspired by writing systems aimed to attract more visitors.
The museum has an open design and is connected to a spacious park. It is free to enter, so citizens can easily enjoy its displays.
Incheon City will host various cultural events here until July 6th to celebrate its opening. Choi Soo-young, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, on the football field in Thailand, Team Korea finished runner-up in the Under-17 Asian Cup following its loss of 3-0 to Japan on Sunday. The Taeguk Warriors were left with an uphill battle when the defender Ko Jong-hyun was sent off field in the 44th minute. Japan took the lead from the resulting free kick before adding 2 more goals in the second half. With its latest Under-17 Asian Cup title, Japan now holds a record 4 Under-17 Asian Cups. Team Korea, for its part, has secured an automatic ticket to the Under-17 World Cup.
The intense heat that baked the nation will subside a bit tomorrow. For Seoul, temperatures will drop by about 5 degrees down to 30 degrees Celsius. Nationwide showers will make conditions feel stuffy and hot, though. This round of monsoon rain will start tomorrow morning and they will last until Wednesday morning. Western regions will see heavy rainfall for this time. The Seoul metropolitan area, parts of Chungcheongdo and Jeollado provinces will see up to 150 millimeters. Gangwon-do province and the surrounding areas can expect 120 millimeters. Depending on the movement of the rain clouds and how clustered they are, locally heavy downpours are possible. Torrential rainfall of 30 to 60 millimeters per hour is possible. For those across low-lying areas, please be extra careful of potential landslides and flooding. Hotter spells are expected for tomorrow. Seoul will be starting off at 25 degrees. As for the daily highs, Seoul will get up to 30, Gwangju 27, Daegu and Gyeongju will be reaching 29 degrees. For the latter half of the week, highs in Seoul will be hovering around 31 degrees. That's all for now, and to the weather conditions around the world.
That is all for this Monday night newscast. Thank you for watching. We'll be back with the latest news tomorrow. Hope everyone has a great start of the week.
Welcome.